Some gorgeous track tribe jazz, as I sound like my normal rambunctious self has been knocked down a few pegs. What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, with a lot of stuff turned off on the stream. Mostly, if subscribers who've been subbed for at least a day or longer want to stop by and leave condolences, they're welcome to do so. And for anybody else that agrees with anything that I say, feel free to hit the like button. Send me a hell yeah, because I'm pretty ticked about a lot of stuff right now. It's just like, you're going to hear me be a lot more low-key than usual, because today I woke up feeling like my head was a space heater and that my nose and throat had been sandpapered. So, temperature broke the 100-degree mark, which is the threshold to get booted out on quarantine. So here I am in a situation with 3-dose Moderna, plus the booster at least 2 weeks ago, and flu shot for 2021 at least 2 weeks ago, and still slipping through the cracks because it's not about what you have, it's about the symptoms you exhibit and how quickly you can get tested afterwards. I want to talk a bit about a side of the pandemic in this Pandemi-Rant that people don't talk about, which is the money side of it. And just how easy it is to slip through the cracks. Because as I, talked with the HR folks on the phone about everything and what to do next, where to get tested and stuff like that to make sure it's not COVID, I couldn't help but think of a little something I see the anti-vaxxers saying all the time, that literally anything we do about this virus is, oh, it's communism. You have to wear a face diaper everywhere you go. It's da-da-da. It's East Germany. Da-da-da. Show me your papers. That last one was what I was thinking about, because, look, this is New England. It's December. I'm going to sound a little rough, but I'll tell you right now, I'm at 99 degrees fever after taking Tylenols to knock it down. Now, I'm a little jinxed on the medication side of things because I usually take one of these slow-release arthritis Tylenol things. I don't have arthritis, but since it's supposed to last 8 hours or so, I'll grab one of those for longer, pain control or whatever it is of any back pain I might have or soreness from the job, or plantar fasciitis, which I tend to have more issues with in the winter time. So, but after midnight, when the one I took as part of what I usually do is supposed to have worn out, we're going to bust out the regular Tylenols to knock the fever down. Just watch the dosage. Don't go too high. I also have the pulse oximeter thing that goes in your finger, which indicates if there's problems with blood oxygen, and there's zero problems with that. So I think I've basically slipped through the cracks here. We'll find out what happens when I get tested. We'll find out what it is when I get tested. So, look, here is the thing with regards to show me your papers. This is New England, it's December. There's going to be winter colds going around because it's winter time in New England. It's been like 20-something degrees or 30-something degrees for a couple of days now. People are spending more time indoors. They're cranking the heat. They're doing all the usual winter stuff. There's going to be sickness going around. And yet there's stupidity and masks going around with people that don't want to wear masks properly and don't want to get vaccinated. Even as a new variant, the Omicron variant, has surfaced in the U.S. and California. I think that's just keep the drinks handy because I'm going to need them tonight more than usual. So the Omicron variant has been detected in California, but the thing is, we know it's surfaced in Canada as well. There's not a doubt in my mind it's probably come across the border into the Pacific Northwest and the Northeast. It just hasn't been surfaced in a test yet. I think we'll probably see that at some point sooner rather than later. Just like when it made the news, CBC was like, oh yeah, Omicron's in Canada. And I'm over here like, it'll be in the US very soon before we know it. And I'll bet any money it's in my neck of the woods by Christmas. Well, here we are already. Oh, look, something in California. Dr. Fauci has this big meeting with Jen Psaki and whatnot on the White House YouTube channel and media outlets and things along those lines and stuff like that. But, I mean, even if Omicron doesn't turn out to be a competitor to Delta, which there's a lot we still don't know about that variant, the Delta variant in New England, it has been having a little bit of fun with us because of people that are due for their booster, among other things. Usual winter nonsense. Also, don't forget there's less mitigation in place because we don't have like statewide mask mandates or anything. There are some things in Connecticut that have expired since last winter. And then there's idiots out there who are not wearing masks because they've been fudging their vaccination status since the old guidance under the pre-Delta Alpha variant. Which, oh yeah, take your mask off if you're vaccinated. So you'll go to Walmart and you'll see people not wearing masks and you'll know instantly those people are infected idiots. Stay away from them. You'll go to Walmart and you'll see that. And then you'll go to a place like where I work, where people have to wear masks. You'll see people constantly having their nose popping out or just giving away that they don't care. Giving away that they don't care. And the only reason they wear a mask anywhere is because it's required to. But I got news for you. I think it's time for us, ladies and gentlemen, to start rethinking the mask thing beyond just COVID, because Asian countries have mask wearing as a standard practice during flu season or during the colder months of the year, just, to slow down the spread of colds and flus. But I think here in America, we probably have something extremely important to keep in mind that nobody wants to talk about. Just like how nobody wants to talk about the money side of the pandemic and how it's easy to take a hit to your wallet, even if you don't take a hit to your health. So I'm going to get tested. If this turns out to not be Delta, it's a great example of slipping through the cracks and having a cold with similar symptoms to COVID, cost you serious money. And if you're at a job where you don't have PTO saved up or whatnot, or you're not a manager on salary, like the manager who got it a couple of weeks ago was, you're talking about a hit to your wallet right in time for the holidays. So, and it's not just the holidays either. You'll take the hit any other time if testing isn't fast enough and you have to be out for at least a week. And if you don't, and what can what is there for benefits or anything unless you test positive? These are the circumstances that people don't think about when they're too busy arguing back and forth on the internet. And let me tell you, if you can get booted out of work on quarantine because of anything that has symptoms similar to COVID, that should be a reason enough to wear masks everywhere. And that's another thing too with masking too. You're talking about potentially kicking people out of their jobs right in time for the holidays if they get the cold you have that just looks like COVID but isn't. So you're talking about, if you're not wearing a mask, it's a drain. You're saying, I want to be a drain on the economy. So you're not wearing a mask. It's, I want to be a drain on the economy. That's basically what you're saying. Now, under these circumstances. So you got people that say, show me your papers, and they're bashing the vaccine, they're bashing everything else, they're doing this, they're doing that. You got people saying, show me your papers. Well, what do you think this situation is? Well, you can live in New England in December, come down with a cold that only looks like COVID and get booted out of work as though you have it and lose money until you show them your papers to be allowed back into work. What do you call that? This is the nonsense that the anti-vaxxers and their sympathetic ilk are prolonging by not wanting to get aggressive and unify against this virus and make excuses for it. And in some parts of this country, which I don't see why anyone intelligent should be living in them anymore if they're going to be like this. In some parts of the country, they're even passing laws that help the virus out. So, not the thing. What are going on here? So, the earliest test I can get is Saturday so far. So, we're talking tonight, tomorrow night, 2 days so far. And then the test results take a while to come back. So, I only had like 3 days and change. I could blow the last sick day of the year, blow the last of the sick time, get the equivalent of like 4 days pay out of this whole deal. But that would blow all my remaining time for the rest of the year. The sick time would and that much longer until I could take a real vacation. So it's not. Imagine if you didn't work somewhere that had benefits like this, and you basically are stuck with no money. Assuming you don't work in some seedy business that comes up with an excuse to fire you if you get COVID, so that way they can stay staffed. So there's a whole other side. There's a whole other money side of this pandemic that people don't want to talk about, and it's just sad. It's just sad that, people like myself have to be the ones that figure it out. And then we get no views on YouTube, no hits on blogs or whatever, because we're not something we're not something popular the algorithm already knows to pass around. What a pity. Just goes to show how the truth is suppressed, yes, but it's not in the way that the anti-vaxxers think. It's suppressed in the sense that people are so busy screeching at each other on the internet that they're not talking about the real ways that this affects you. This affects the little guy. So, and most of the restrictions on this are because I'm just going to have this discussion and that's going to be that. But that's the world we live in. That's the world we live in, and that's what this thing can do to you if you get sick with something that looks like COVID. If this turns out to be a Delta breakthrough infection, then I'm going to do my part. But until I find out it is, I'm just going to say it's not. I'm going to have to be convinced through a positive test that it is. Because, I mean, I don't have any kind of drop in blood oxygen levels or anything. And there's a lot that's missing that I've heard from other people who've gone through Delta, as it's made the rounds. So there's a lot of missing details here that I have to figure out before I can, decide what to call this crap. But if it is, then we'll just do what we're supposed to do. If it isn't, it's just a great example of how you can slip through the cracks so easily in a system like this and be treated as though you're infected, even if you're fully vaccinated with booster and flu shot, but you get a cold that looks similar to COVID. And you get kicked out of work because of it. In the middle of winter, nonetheless. When you're surrounded, when you go to Walmart and you see people wearing their masks on their nose, on their chin, under their nose, under their chin, or not at all, and not realizing, probably because they haven't figured this out yet, that even if it's not COVID related, we're in a climate right now where if you're not wearing your mask, you could actually be kicking someone out of their job because if they get something, like they get a cold or something that looks like COVID, now they're punted out on quarantine right in time for Christmas. Congratulations. Your stupidity is costing people money right in time for the holidays. So, and people wonder why I'm so antagonistic about this whole thing. That, oh yeah, you need to wear your mask. You need to get vaccinated. Because this is the crap that this nonsense is prolonging. How much longer would you like it to continue? Then we look at the state of the supply chains. You have electronics hard to come by, computer parts hard to come by. You have all this stuff that's hard to come by. You have all this stuff that's hard to come by. Because in less vaccinated parts of the world, they have to do more lockdowns and plant closures and all kinds of other crap. The United States mostly had to do last year. So, how much longer do you want it to continue, folks? There really is zero reason why any of this crap had to be politicized, but this politicization nonsense is what's going to cost us. It's going to cost you, too. If you work in a certain place that, doesn't want their team falling apart right in time for the winter volume season, when there could be overtime opportunities, all kinds of other stuff, and stuff along those lines. I had a reason to drink a lot of that tonight. So, as it stands, we'll have to see what happens when I can start taking the normal Tylenol after midnight. Or acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. It's probably more respectful to the company that makes Tylenol to refer to this stuff as what it really is. I could get some national brand Tylenol though. Get some of that just for the heck of it. It's kind of a nice gesture after so many times that I've been, haven't kept the right words, blah, blah, blah. Nah. So yeah. So here's my plan for all of this. As it stands right now, I don't know if this is a Delta breakthrough infection or not. I'm assuming it's not until it's proven otherwise. If it is proven otherwise, I'm going to come on here and say it is Delta. It is Delta because Omicron, everyone's worried about Omicron, but in the Northeast, Delta already was having a little bit of fun with us because we have people due for boosters despite our highly vaccinated states. Being vaccinated now needs to have a timetable attached to it. So being vaccinated needs to have a timetable attached to it. So the so now that booster, now there's a children's vaccine. I'm starting to sound nasal like that guy that, what's his name? Jeff Zients or whatever that does those things with Fauci and Walensky. Yeah. I watch him on the White House YouTube channel, but right. So the, lost my train of thought. Shouldn't be surprised. I mean, maybe this is brain fog or something. I don't know. Now, hey, I've been feeling like my head's a space heater for most of the day. So, I mean, it should be lucky I can do anything coherent. But anyways, so yeah, Delta. Delta's been having some fun with us lately here in the Northeast because of people that need boosters. The thing is, though, this is gonna be a one-time deal. After this, it's basically, take care of yourself in order to take care of this thing. So we have vaccines available for children all the way down to 5. So that no more, oh, we got to surround the kids with vaccinated people. Now, parents who want to vaccinate their kids finally have the option to make the choice to vaccinate their kids. I emphasize that on purpose because I see a lot of screeching on local social media about that kind of stuff. And there's politicization of whether or not schools should have vaccine clinics in Connecticut too. Right. So we have a children's vaccine, and the booster authorization is for everybody who meets the timetable 18 plus. So we have we have the tools, and the little bureaucratic loophole of, oh, do we need boosters, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's over with. So we should see Delta not hammer us as badly as it did last winter, because the last bureaucratic loophole for people getting boosters is gone now. So it's eventually going to become a situation is, do you want to do the right thing or not? And if you don't, get out of the way. Because this situation, the situation that we're in, people don't think of the stuff like what I've just talked about. People don't think about the stuff that I've talked about here because they're too busy hollering the same talking points back and forth on the internet. But there's a whole other side to this when you think about the money side of the pandemic and how you cannot get COVID, but be treated as though you did and lose big time because of that. Now, what if you live paycheck to paycheck? What if you're in a situation where you have to struggle to pay the bills? What if you're not, in Connecticut or in a job with, decent wages or anything like that? So it's these what ifs that people don't think about when they're screeching and hollering back and forth on the internet and all that fun stuff. So that's the situation. So here's how this is going to proceed. And this will be the last part of this discussion. Since obviously, from how much I've struggled to do this, chat streaming should not be what I'm doing right now. Game streaming has less talking involved, so I might just do chill game streaming and not blabber so much. But here's where I'm going to go with this. Right now, I don't know what this is. Is it a winter cold and I've slipped through the cracks, or is it a Delta breakthrough infection? It's probably going to be wimpy because I've done all the right things and I've gotten all the shots and they're all fully effective. So here's what I'm going to do. Regardless of what it is, the test is on Saturday. It is Thursday night or Wednesday night. The test is on Saturday. I'm going to see. That's a pharmacy test, by the way. I'm going to see if my doctor's office can expedite this process. Ugh. I mean, I've gotten swabbed before when I thought I had it and wanted to get cleared to return to work. It's no fun. I mean, my eyes were watering and everything from them jamming it so far back in your throat. This is no fun. I'm not looking forward to this. All this because people don't want to do the right thing. They don't want to wear masks. They don't want to get the shot. They don't want to do that. But in this case, if it's something else that made me slip through the cracks and it's not a breakthrough infection, then it is something else. And the reason why we need to make masking part of our culture, well, at least until we get out of this mess, because it's not just the COVID side of it that could affect someone and potentially ruin their Christmas or something else, their ability to pay the bills 1 month or something along those lines. Right. So here's where I go from here. I'm gonna stream as much as I can, because if it turns out to be a breakthrough infection of Delta, we can showcase the effects of the vaccine. That I'm still able to do some stuff constructively, and maybe even some people will be like, "Oh wait, is he really sick?" Even though my head still feels like a space heater right now, I'd probably go get some nice and cool to wrap around it. It feels like I'm in the middle of summer right now, and it's 72 in here and it's 30 outside. So yeah. If this turned out to be a wimpy breakthrough infection, I want to showcase the difference between being vaccinated and maybe some other stories you've heard from some people. So I did lose a cousin to Delta around Labor Day who was not vaccinated. So I know what his story was. And I think some folks in the family would like to see, the difference that vaccines make when this thing finds you. And I have to say when, not if, because that's the nature of this thing. And Omicron, from what we're hearing, sounds like it's more catchy. Delta itself, though, was making people do double takes with how catchy it was when it came onto this, when it sprung onto the scene in India and in the United States. Delta was also a jump forward in how catchy it was. So yeah, this thing will find you. Let me just tell you, let me give you an example of this. If this turns out to be COVID, we're talking about week-long, 5-day incubation period. I might have caught it at Walmart or something from someone who wasn't wearing their mask. Most of the people I encounter are either Walmart or work. Now, we've had some people not wearing masks correctly and some anti-vaxxer folks on staff who've outed themselves as being anti-vaxxers. So I try to stay away from them, but then they want to wander over, not follow the 6-foot rule, and blabber, 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 blabber. And then they want to get a little louder. They'll take off their mask and talk to me that way. Not a smart move. But then again, it's just all this crap going on. And yet it's like I'm from a foreign country. It's like I'm from another planet when I mention, look, it's not just the skills and abilities people bring to the table. It's who you hire. If you hire somebody who's fundamentally careless, they're a risk to the business. If someone outs themselves as being an anti-vaxxer, now that this has been politicized to hell, they're a risk to the business. So, I mean, there are some people that don't wear masks properly. There are some people that don't give a darn, and then there are some people that I've spotted having little meltdowns on local social media because they blabber away with impunity. They blabber away with impunity as though nobody else from their local area is going to see them. Well, I got news for you. If you're talking in local news and I routinely look at all the crap people are saying in comment sections, I'm going to find your comment. I'll be like, okay, stay away from that person. So they are COVIDiot. And COVIDiots carry disease. Simple as that. Let's see here. So the idea here is do some game streaming to progress in ESO, mostly. If I feel too lousy to stream, could do a no cam stream, could do some other stuff. Try another finger. Got to keep an eye on this to make sure it doesn't fall down into the low 90s. It has some trouble, though, depending on what finger I use. Yeah, still 96. Keep an eye on that. Call the doctor if it drops down towards the low 90s consistently. Right. But, yeah, I think that's probably the best I can do is just show the difference here. Especially when show the difference here between doing the right thing, not doing the right thing. Folks in my family will notice it the most. It'd be really fun if I could medicate to the point where people were wondering if I was even sick. You know, using OTC stuff, not even anything from the doctor. So, I guess considering that the symptoms began in earnest today, we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. So, let's see. I think Vindalia doesn't stream tonight. So, I'm actually tossing around the idea of going over to Twitch when things are when the ESO category thins out over there. See if I can make 1080-60 work with their $6,000 bit rate. I don't think it will, though. I think V streams at 30 frames per second, so I don't think that'll work. So yeah, and I still have to call the ISP to do before the 7th if I don't want internet to get super expensive right as I'm losing money because of lost wages because of this crap. So a lot to figure out, but I think the best thing I can do is continue trying to do stuff that's constructive. And if not, well, there's tech videos. There's a tech video I've had sitting around for a while that I could put together. But if I can get on here and get some constructive stuff done and show what it looks like when you do the right thing, and this does turn out to be a breakthrough. I mean, you hear all the time about, breakthroughs have mild symptoms. How often do you see that from somebody? I'll sound rough, and I'll sound rough and I'll feel rough. But it'd be interesting to show, that especially if you've known somebody who's been clobbered when they weren't vaccinated or something where you can show the difference and things like that. So yeah, you'll still see me streaming. So I'm going to do as much streaming as I can, and we'll get tested and we'll see what this is. If it's Delta, this will be a great example of the effectiveness of the vaccines. If it's not Delta, then this rant will be a nice example of what happens when you slip through the cracks, because people's stupidity contributes to prolonging a global pandemic like this. Because I am not happy about this stuff. And this is why I don't really have much, if anything, to say to my vaccine hesitant relatives that are still. I mean, look, you saw if they saw my cousin spend the last month of his life hooked up to machines before dying around Labor Day, and you still don't want to get the vaccine, why am I even speaking to you? I mean, if you don't want to do the right thing, just look at the damage that we're seeing now around here. You know, this could be a winter cold for all I know. I've had fever bugs in winter before. I've had drunk colds that shot me up to like 100 degrees, and it felt like I was drunk everywhere I go in the pre-COVID world. So this could just be some stupid thing that's going around, and I'd normally medicate unless it got bad enough where it didn't feel safe to drive. But no, you gotta stay home and blow time if you have it, and all that other fun stuff. Right. That's the world we live in. And the longer that people don't do the right thing, the longer that people don't get vaccinated, the longer that people don't wear masks properly, the longer this nonsense is going to continue. And who knows? It could be you next time. And I don't know your situation, but if your situation's worse than mine, it's going to hit you harder. I mean, I can turtle in place and try, not spend as much and things like that. Some people live paycheck to paycheck because of all their obligations. And this kind of disruption right around the holidays, what do you think that means for them? All right. I'm going to take a break from everything, kind of relax my throat a little and stuff like that. And then we'll see what we can still do. But I mean, even if it's Delta, still going to plow through this and keep on streaming so people can see the effectiveness of the vaccines in action. Plus, we have some music from Track Tribe and Quincus Morera to try out in terms of background music to try and see if I can go all whitetail and lessen my involvement with stream beats in the game streams. Stay safe. Get vaccinated. Vaccines.gov. Find, get a decent mask that can stay over your nose and mouth. Find one that's good and buy a bunch of them. And do wash them in the laundry, all hot water and stuff like that. Because it's not just about COVID this holiday season. It's about not looking like you have COVID so you don't take a hit to the wallet that you don't need to be taking. And that is what the people screeching on the internet are going to conveniently forget. Well, missing context is a regular thing with them anyways. So why should I be surprised at any of that? Stay safe this winter, folks. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by. Winter of our pandemic discontent? Yeah, here we are.